How long can you go without sleep? In your entire life, you'll sleep 230,000 hours. That's 1/3 of your life. And although the amount ranges from species to species, almost every single animal will sleep a couple hours throughout the day. But why? Why lose 1/3 of your life in the unconscious abyss when you could be spending that time on productive activities, like gambling? And what would happen if someone decided to stay up as long as possible? Well, luckily for us, in 1964, a high school boy named Randy Gardner set out to find the answer to just this question. But let's not get ahead of ourselves and start at... Now, I'm sure everyone has pulled an all-nighter before and knows the symptoms all too well. It usually starts off kind of positive, as directly after sleeping longer than usual, you'll feel a boost of energy and motivation. And my personal game theory is this is why we all get so motivated randomly at 3 a.m. Anyway, cherish these symptoms when they last, cause it's all downhill from here. You'll start to feel tired and unfocused. From my personal experience, you'll also start to get irritable and have headaches. And your reaction time will start to decrease more and more as you stay up. Really though, it's not the end of the world. As long as you're not driving or trying to teach yourself something complex, not much will really change for you, especially with the help of some caffeine. While I've never been awake this long, many people have, and they can tell you firsthand that the amazing rewards that await you are hostility, memory loss, and difficulty forming sentences. These effects are also not only psychological, because you also start to not be able to process glucose as well, and your immune system starts performing tremendously worse. At 72 hours, we've already hit a wall, because poking a guy with a stick to keep him awake for 3 days has been deemed unethical by the National Commission for Protection of Human Subjects. But we gotta do research, damn it. So after taking a quick vacation in our time machine to the 1960s, where pesky human experimentation laws barely existed, we can get back to our experiment. And oh, look at that! Who else would it be in 1960s California but 17-year-old Randy Gardner, aka the guy who stayed up 11 days. Alright, picking up from where we left off, after 3 days of not sleeping, Randy was honestly doing pretty okay. He did have difficulty focusing his eyes, trouble doing basic tongue twisters, and was becoming moody, but overall he was still functionable. His friend, on the other hand, who was supposed to be writing notes on the experiment, fell asleep trying to observe Randy. This, plus the fact that Randy's parents were starting to get pretty worried about this experiment, ended up with one William Dement showing up on the scene. And William was the right man for the job. Honestly, the only man for the job, as he literally discovered what REM sleep was, and pretty much was the only guy in the 60s who cared enough about sleep to become an expert on it. So over the next couple days, William monitored Randy's brainwaves with an EKG, which was probably like cavemen seeing fire for the first time. I mean, keep in mind, in the 60s, the closest thing to an iPhone was this. Anyway, back to Randy, who by the end of day 4 was starting to show signs of serious deterioration. Along with his moodiness, he was also irritable, showing even more short-term memory loss, and even had hallucinations, one which he saw a street sign and thought it was a person. He also had full-blown delusional episodes, thinking that he was a famous black football player, which makes me think, how did they know that he was specifically a black football player? Like, did he have like a specific guy in mind who they knew was black, or did he say it? I don't know. Fast forward to day 8, Randy was really starting to fall apart. All his prior symptoms got worse, plus the new symptoms of slurring speech, slowing speech, and not being able to name even common household tools. The last 3 days were especially brutal, and Randy was not doing so Randy. Get it, guys? Because Randy is falling apart. He is falling apart. It's not going well. On top of the stronger hallucination and paranoia, he was starting to frequently not even finish sentences he started, and he was completely expressionless. And in an experiment where he had to count back from 100 in increments of 5, he said 92 and then kicked the experimenter in the nutsack. I'm kidding, he just couldn't count down. His brain was completely fried. Anyway, after this, he went to sleep. The aftermath of the experiment was pretty interesting. First of all, this whole experiment became one of the most popular things in America, alongside the assassination of JFK and the Beatles doing a tour in America, which is a hilarious juxtaposition for headlines, but anyway. And at last, Randy was finally able to hit the hay. He slept for 14 hours, with an abnormally large percentage of that being deep sleep, and it took a couple days for him to return to a normal sleep schedule with a normal amount of REM sleep. Now, there is a huge caveat with this 11-day world record, which is that humans can and almost certainly have stayed awake longer than this experiment documented. And while even 1960s morals aren't corrupt enough to deprive deprive of a man of enough sleep to kill him, that same protection does not apply to lab cats and mice, both of which end up dying of stress around the 15-day mark. Although whether the cause of death was actually sleep deprivation or something else is still up in the air. So all in all, it seems that 15 days is about how long a human can stay awake without dying. Okay, that's all great, but why do we even sleep in the first place? I mean, we all waste 4 to 8 hours every day doing absolutely nothing. Close TikTok, and then waste another 4 to 8 hours being unconscious doing absolutely nothing. Well, the truth is, while it seems like we're doing nothing, there actually is a lot going on under the hood. The first stage of sleep is getting sleepy, and this happens with the release of melatonin. After you sleep, you enter the first stage of non-REM sleep. In this stage, your heart rate and breathing slows down, your muscles start twitching, and your body temperature lowers, which is probably why you prefer to stick your feet out of your blanket when you sleep. It's because it helps you regulate body temperature. The third stage of sleep is the first deep sleep one and is called delta stage, and this is where our body releases a bunch of growth hormones which repairs our bones and muscles. This is why sleep is important for getting jacked. It's because the muscle you work out in the gym is repaired and made stronger in your sleep. And finally, there's the fourth stage of REM sleep. This is the stage where you dream, and also the stage you woke up in if you've ever experienced sleep paralysis. That's because your body temporarily paralyzes itself during this stage because it doesn't want you to act out on any of your dreams. Your brain is also very active during this stage, and your eyes are constantly darting back and forth. Your body will go through these 4 stages anywhere between 3 to 4 times every night. So obviously sleep's important, does a bunch of stuff, and the results of not sleeping are higher rates of heart disease, diabetes, depression, even obesity, which would explain why I'm getting so chubby recently. Probably haven't been getting enough sleep. DoorDash for Adee? Oh, yeah, that's for me, thank you. Alright, sounds good, man. You hosting a party or something? This is a lot. No, it's just for me. Oh, really? This is a lot of food. This is like a lot. You sure this is all for you? Yeah, can you just do your job? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video and learned something new. If you did, consider liking and subscribing. Check out my Patreon, where this video released 2 days early. And aside from that, have a good day. Goodbye.